All right, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to Really Really Longathon. My name is Nestani, and today we're going to be running Scooby-Doo Out of 100 Frights 100%. And today on commentary, I actually have a good buddy of mine joining me. Cole, if you would like to introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Coley, or Coley_02, as the true gamers like to call me. And it's, that is the cringiest introduction I've ever given. But it's an honor to be here at Really Really Longathon. I'm super excited.
All right.
Strong start.
This is a 100% run of Frights, as I just mentioned, and I just wanted to give some prerequisites before we get in about like what constitutes 100% in this game specifically. So if you don't know, Frights is a 2.5D/3D action platforming game with Metroidvania elements. So there are 11 upgrades in total that we will be collecting throughout the game that count towards percentage. There are all the snacks in the game that we need to collect that also count to percentage. There are 21 monster tokens in the game that basically just have pictures of various monsters from like the Scooby-Doo franchise, like the Witch, Geronimo, the Caveman, stuff like that. And then we have to enter every level. And was there a fifth one? Am I missing one, Cole? Enter every level, every snack, every power-up, every monster token.
I think that's pretty much it. Yeah.
I think that's it. So there we go.
Yeah.
I promise you, I know the run, but that is a technicality on that. So we're also running on the NTSC GameCube version of the game. Specifically, we're running on the 1.0 NTSC GameCube version of the game. There's like two differences with that we'll get into as we get going. But right now we're gonna hop right in and just begin the run. I'm gonna count down from 3 to go, and then we'll get going as soon as I hit new game. So 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so Scooby-Doo Out of 100 Frights again is a basically an action platforming game where we're just gonna kind of be rolling on. And so the first thing that we're gonna be collecting here is I'm gonna go out of my way immediately at the very beginning to collect these things called Scooby Snacks, and we have to collect every single one of these in the game. They're making this little chomping sound and sound, and basically we have to route ourselves in order to collect all of these. And on top of collecting all of these, we also have to collect, again, all the monster tokens, which you see kind of shining in the back there, glimmering a little bit as we just make our way through this bottom half. And so a monster token, as you're about to see right here, is going to make this little ting sound. Ting! And that is a monster token. There are 21 of those, so we're going to be collecting that. That is tragic. These tire swings rather are a bit finicky. Sometimes you go right into a snack and you're like, surely I got that. You didn't. But here what we're going to do is that we're about to make our way into Manor, and right now we're kind of just making our way to our first upgrade of the game. So right here, these are things called snack gates. We basically have to pay them with a certain amount of snacks to unlock them. These are not very important in this run as we're collecting every snack in the game, so we're not really worried about snack totals. In other categories of the game, we are worried about snack totals a lot, and we have like specific snack routes in those categories. But again, since we don't really bother with that, it doesn't really bother us too much. Right here, we're going to talk to Holly. She's going to give us the map, and then we're actually going to turn around because we're actually not going to be back in this level, which is one of the early levels in the game, until like almost the end of the run. So we're going to be breaking the game a little bit here, but we'll get to that later. She gives us the map upgrade, which is a very key upgrade that will allow us to do a trick a bit later on in the run, approximately 4 minutes from now. She also triggers the groundskeeper respawn, who is voiced by Don Knotts, and he's going to give us our first upgrade of the game, the shovel, which allows us to dig, which we're literally using 2 times in the entire run. So that's the first time. And now we're going to make our way into Shock 1, where I want to talk about cycles. So this game, in basically every single level, there are enemies or platforms or anything that moves is on a set cycle. So like these flying fish, these rats, and I'm going to be trying to make certain cycles throughout the game. Like right here, there's a rat cycle here where I can get past this last rat without having to jump over him. And that's just one example of the cycle. We'll be pointing out a ton of cycles throughout the runs. But since a lot of these things that move in the game, pretty much everything that's not us is on a set cycle, we basically want to move in a way that we're collecting all the snacks in the room while, you know, making our way and not be sure that we're not getting hit. Because every time we get hit, we kind of play an animation that we get hit and we lose like a second for every hit that we take. So ideally, we want to avoid that. So in this room right here, we're normally intended to play a mini game with Shaggy, but instead what we're going to do is that we're actually just going to release the R button, which I've been holding down the entire time and allows Scooby to run. And basically, if you release the R button, you have a slightly higher single jump, and you have basically 2 different heights of single jumps that you can do whether you're holding R or not holding R. And so we can basically just skip that little we can skip that little section with Shaggy by just releasing the R button. Now you might have noticed right there I missed some snacks, but don't worry because we're actually backtracking through Shock 2 at the very end of the run to collect the rest of the snacks in this level because we need certain upgrades in order to collect those snacks specifically. So I can be a little bit loose here, but right now I'm going to hand it over to Cole because I don't want to mess up this level.
Yeah, we're about to do some really crazy stuff right here. So this level kind of introduces tar, which is that surface you see right there, and it really sucks because it only allows us to walk. We can't jump, we can't run, but thankfully we can jump on like the rope railings on the side and the barrels and the crates to avoid the tar as much as possible. And we're actually going to use this to our advantage to 100% this room, so that we can like avoid backtracking later. We also have the springs invention that we just got, which is the double jump, which will be extremely useful for accomplishing this right here. So we're going to bounce on this crab, jump on this railing right here, and we're not supposed to collect these snacks until like way later. We're supposed to beat like some boss fights, you know, do all sorts of crazy stuff, but we're able to just hop through this pelican right here. This is always a fun part of the game. And then this second area, we're normally not supposed to be here right now, and our exit from this area is actually blocked to us. So what we're gonna do is a really cool trick called pause storage, and we're gonna do this a couple times in this speedrun right here. And it's really cool, and here's how it works. So what we have to do is we have to quit the game and unplug the controller at the same time, which brings up a second pause menu that allows us to use the warp function from our menu. So right there, that sound effect means he got it, and then he can just use his map that we got earlier from the lovely Holly as a warp gate, which you'll see what a warp gate actually looks like right there. It's like a swirly thing. You'll see us use it a couple times. But yeah, it's a really cool trick. But if you fail that trick, you can quit the game. So
we do have safety saves in place. So
yeah,
if by chance I do miss one of these, we're going to be going for 6 of them precisely because there are 3 saves per memory cards. So I have 2 memory cards. We're doing 6 of them. I have safety saves for all of them. So if we miss one, we just boot up where we left off, and we're all good. And so I want to talk about Scooby's charge attack, which is this little, this is the main movement mechanic you've been seeing me use a ton here. And basically the way that this charge works is that at the beginning of it, Scooby's a bit slower, so we only want to use this this charge attack over longer distances. So you saw me like right there as I was like jumping over those little pits. I actually wasn't using the charge attack because at the beginning of it we're slower and we speed up more towards the very end. So over shorter distances, we want to avoid using the charge attack if possible. And right here is a very key moment of the Hundo run. We have to talk to Don Knotts right here because, oh, by the way, post up a little early there. Sometimes we can cancel that animation by just spamming A. Didn't get it there, but fun fact, if you don't talk to Don Knotts right there, he will, you can't 100% the game. Like, he doesn't appear again. He despawns, and you can never get the lampshade slippers if you leave this level after you enter it the first time.
Yeah.
So it's really important that we get that. So we are well on our way to getting 100% because all the inventions basically all the inventions count for percentage, so we have to collect all of them, and that is another one, even though we literally don't use the lampshade and slippers at all.
Yeah, it's like a stealth item.
Yeah, which I'll show you in a second, but right here's more tar that we're just going to kind of walk by, and then we're going to make our way, and we're going to go do Shaggyless. And right now we're kind of playing on the casual path here for a little bit, but that will change in a bit. But this is what the lampshade and slippers do. We just kind of like post up. You know, we don't want to move slow, so we're not really using them, right? And yeah, and I'll let Cole take over from from here?
Yeah, so normally this is a very infamous part of the game. This is an auto-scroller. This proves why Shaggy should not be driving the Mystery Machine at all. I mean, look at this guy. But we normally have to ride Shaggy's tractor because the floor is filled with thorns and stuff, which hurt. And we're actually going to do a strategy to skip most of this auto-scroller right here called Shaggyless. And because we started this room with perfect health, we're actually able to use the invincibility frames we get from getting hit by the thorns. We start it right here. We're able to just run through this level because there's health items right here, these sandwiches. So we're actually able to time our jumps perfectly and run around and collect all the snacks that we need to in this level and 100% this room without having to wait for Shaggy to catch up with us. So yeah, it's pretty scary though, because we literally end with exactly 1 health at the end, and that isn't just going to be a problem for this level, because these next few levels have a ton of obstacles and enemy cycles and just all sorts of nonsense that can hurt you. And this game really doesn't have much of a checkpoint feature. It's incredibly rare. Nice job, by the way. That was very, very well done.
This is one of the few things in the game that I was really concerned about, because you lose a lot of time if you mess up this trick.
You have to start all the way back at the beginning, and that's true for this level as well, and most levels in this game. When you die, you have to start at the very beginning, and some of these levels are short, but this one is particularly long, so we have to make sure that we use our movement wisely to go through it quick, but also safely. Here can pose a problem, because there's like these arrows. Yep, that's...
Happens.
But you know what?
But now
it just
we have 3
happens.
health, and so now we're not scared at all.
Yes.
Moving through this
yeah. So that's sort of like a bonus, and also it was at least at the beginning of the level. But in this level, there's actually a really cool trick, and I don't know if you guys remembered at the beginning when Nestani talked about us having the 1.0 version of the game right here, and essentially that's just the first release of the GameCube version, and this version can do 2 special glitches. And this is one of them, where we can clip through these boxes with this chandelier right here. And normally we're not supposed to access this part of the level until way later, when we have the helmet invention, which allows us to break the wooden crates. But we're actually
trying not to hit a cutscene trigger, by the way, right there.
Yeah,
I'm trying to avoid that.
But yeah, so we're able to 100% this room and 100% this whole section of levels with that useful trick. There's another 1.0 exclusive trick that we will be doing later that is also kind of cool to see as well. But there we go. We made it through Greenhouse 1, and now we're making our way through Greenhouse 2. Going to show off the charging mechanics, and there's actually a cycle that we're going to try and make at the end of this level, where there are 2 scarecrow enemies that we're able to just barely thread the needle and charge right in between them. And something else that's important to note is that this is actually the first level set that we will be 100%ing, and every time you 100% a level set, there's actually a indicator right here that says all snacks collected. So that's going to be incredibly useful for us to make sure that we actually 100%ed what we're supposed to.
And so right here is where this is going to be one of the first, well, I guess you just saw Shaggyless, but so this is going to be one of the second major things you're going to see. We're going to jump off this invisible wall and jump all the way up here. Now, we are not normally intended to be up here this early. Normally you're supposed to come back with one of the later inventions in the game called the soap, which basically puts a bubble around enemies that you can use them as platforms to access these areas. But instead, we basically just jump off of this invisible ledge, kind of left in. I think it's like the sign specifically, like it's just like a ledge above the sign that was just kind of like left in. And so it allows us to get to the top way earlier than intended, and this basically allows us to take out some backtracking, so we don't have to come back to Hill 1 later on in the run, because, you know, we did get a warp gate in Greenhouse 2, but again, we want to reduce backtracking as much as possible. So if there is a place where we can just collect all the snacks in one go, we want to do that, right? Because every level that we have to do more backtracking in is another load screen, and we want to avoid as many load screens as possible, because load screens just eat up time, right? And so right here, we're actually going to do another soap skip in Hill 2. We're actually going to do this one twice because there is normally you're supposed to soap an enemy at the end of this level in order to get up here. Then you're going to do a really long circle. But instead, we go to the halfway point, just jump up there. We actually use the D-pad for that trick specifically. And then we're on this half of the level, and we're going to do this half, and then we're going to round back, and then we're going to do the other half. You can actually see it in the background. And then we're going to do this jump here. Unfortunate, that is really bad. Can I hit this snack from here? Okay, I can, but I have to take a death. But that's fine because I got the snacks on the other side, so all I'll have to do is actually just ride this platform twice, which is not the worst thing to ever happen. You know, it could be worse. So sure. I'll get this snack because, yeah, I got the 4, so we should be good here.
Here, I'm good.
And then we're gonna do our little soap skip again, and then we're just going to jump across the back half of this level. And then we're gonna do something pretty minute but kind of interesting, is that we're actually gonna jump into this door and we're not gonna run into it. And that is because whenever you run into a door and you enter, it releases the R button, and we want to not skid into the door, so we have those skid frames at the very beginning of this level, which just allows us to jump twice, hit both of these snack boxes in one jump. And we need to hit this warp gate specifically because we're going to come back here later on whenever we go into Skull Cliff to do 100% Skull Cliff. But until then, we just want to hit that warp gate so that the backtracking to Skull Cliff is as fast as possible. And then we're just going to kind of make our way up the hill here, because at the top of the hill is our 4th, I don't know how many, I'm not going to try to count.
Yeah, technically.
We're going to get the helmet, which is very useful because it allows us to break open walls, break open spider webs, and kill enemies, which we're not going to be doing too much of the killing enemies, but we should see another all snacks collected here. Good stuff. And so that means in the hill levels, we are also now done with the hill levels as well. And so I'm just going to jump over here and then B-dash, use or helmet rather, to do that. And then we're just going to kind of do some backtracking. We would normally do a pause storage here, but again, we do like 10 pause storages in the run, so we're only doing 6. So some of the pause storages that I would normally do, I'm taking out. Just for safety, because again, you can reset. But right here, you're going to notice that we're not going back into the manor. At this point, normally you would go back in the manor and you will fight Black Knight, and that's because you need the galoshes in order to get into Fishy. But what we're going to do is just jump off of this barrel on top of this low-hanging ceiling, and then we're going to land on the barrels, B-dash on the barrel, get this one snack inside the barrel, and we're going to enter Fishy early. And so this is where the Under Run starts to majorly sequence break the game, because we're not supposed to be here at all. And basically the reason that we're able to do this is because not only is there a low-hanging ceiling there, but also they just didn't use the tar that much in this game at all for the most part. So like a lot of the areas, like this is really the only time the tar is blocking off an area that we need to get into. And so we can just push Black Knight later on in the run simply just because we do not need his invention. Right? And since we don't need his invention, we can just bypass it. And another big thing about that too is that there we go. Another big thing about that too is that basically in the manor there are a lot of levels that we can't collect all the snacks without certain upgrades that we don't have yet, right? And so again, we don't want to go into the manor and then re-enter the manor again, right, later on. And so we just cut all that out. We cut out Black Knight, and then we're allowed to be in Fishy early. And so you've been probably noticing that I've been doing very specific movement on these treadmills here. And that is because, as you can see, when I'm traveling with the treadmill, I move pretty fast, but when I'm traveling against it, I almost grind to a halt right there. And you saw me hit a button at the bottom, and basically that activates this platform. And normally we're not supposed to be able to hit this platform until we have the umbrella. But instead what we do there is that we actually just, we use the momentum from the treadmill that sends us like flying forward. and then we basically can get up there early so that we don't have to backtrack in Fishy 1. We can do the roof, get the token, and then make our way into Fishy 2, where I'm going to shut up for a bit.
Yeah. So these next two levels, Fishy 2 and Fishy 3, Nestani's going to try and go for a cycle that can be pretty difficult to get because a little mess ups really can cost a lot of time, you know. But basically at the end of this level, and along with making a ton of other platform cycles as well, like this, there's a platform that leads to the exit door that we really want to make a cycle for. But the whole gimmick behind this room is that we need to collect these 4 keys spread across this giant place before we can actually continue. And you're also going to see in all these fishy levels, and there's a lot of levels like this, where the floor is slippery. And it actually, when you turn, it makes Scooby kind of drift, so we actually try and jump to make a sharper turn. And right there, you're going to see a lot more of these. It's called skid jumping, where if we charge off the side of a platform, we actually extend the coyote frames, or how many frames the player has to jump when they walk off of a ledge. So skid jumping is incredibly useful for gaining distance, and that snack box, we are not supposed to get that yet, but thankfully that helps us remove some backtracking there and make things a lot quicker. There's the final key right there, but we got to collect a snack up here on this platform. We actually have to wait a second for this platform. For some reason, if you jump on it immediately, it just doesn't go up, so we just got to wait for it right here, and we're making our way to the final platform cycle we're making. Seeing Nestani doing jumps to help make some sharp turns. We're also able to jump on these obstacles right here to make it up here, collect these 2 snacks, and boom, we got that platform cycle. A nice, clean, Fishy Clue Scooby-Doo Part 2. I love that rhyming scheme. But it's not over yet. Immediately, we're trying to do another cycle right here, where we want to get all the snacks on the floor right here and make it onto the first moving platform and collect the snack that's on that platform as well. Yeah, that sounds like a lot to do, and it is a lot to do, but look at that. Pro gamer right here, chat. Pro gamer. There's just one more tricky part about this level that is coming right up. The camera in this game is completely automatic, if you haven't noticed yet, and this is one of the spots right here where the camera gets a little like, what the heck's going on here? But we are once again pro gaming, so we just cruise right through that. And yeah, now we're just kind of making some other smaller cycles, collecting some snacks in this level. And I was also just looking at chat. Somebody asked about version differences and getting into this game. It can cause a little bit of a problem. It doesn't really too much for stuff like Any% or Hundo. There's alternative strats that are equal time or just lose a little bit. But there's a whole other section of this game that's creepy early, that's Xbox exclusive, which that's just a whole nother beast. But
it basically just saves 4 minutes in Any%, but we have a category split on the boards, so it's pretty even. So whatever you have, you can pretty much run and be competitive with for the most part, as long as you're not playing on PS2. Oh, Mega Dance.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, I ran into your zone a little bit.
And basically right here, again, you're going to see much more of the this treadmill action. So I'm trying to go with the treadmill because it boosts me forward. And basically whenever I'm traveling against the treadmill, you'll see me jump off immediately so that I can basically kind of like keep my momentum forward. And so, please don't hit me, Mr. These flying fishes can cause a bit of difficulty, but we're gonna do another skid jump here, make up here. We're not supposed to be up here until we have the umbrella again. You're gonna see this as a recurring theme in a lot of these levels. Is that we need the umbrella for a lot of things in the game. It's actually one of the most important upgrades that we want to get, which is why it is actually, of the 4 bosses in this game, Green Ghost is the first one that we fight because he gives us the umbrella, which just really allows us to 100% the whole game, because we literally can't do it without the umbrella in certain spots. And so right here we're going to actually just do a little wall climb up some visible slopes here. Again, we're supposed to have the umbrella so that we like go up this little fan here so that we can get this token and these snacks, but instead we can just fall down using the wall climbs to climb up to the top, and then we can just make our way through here. And then this is another really big point in Hundo, where again we need to hit this warp gate specifically, because we're going to actually be, whenever we do all of our backtracking at the very end of the run, we need to be sure that we hit the Fishy 4 warp gate, because this starts off all the backtracking that we need to do. But we get all snacks collected. We've gotten the 2 tokens and fishies, and so now we'll be on our way into pier. And then I just wanted to also kind of just mention another thing with just kind of reiterate, because I kind of brushed over it a bit before, but Scooby's charge attack again is like, we want to use it over the longer distances, which is why you see me selectively use it a lot of the time, and specifically on those slippery floors that you just saw me on. We actually, the max speed of those fishy floors is the same as the dash, which is why you saw me not using it on those floors. So right here, what we're going to do is that we're just going to kind of B-dash around that guy, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in the next level, Coast 2, because it'll be a bit more egregious, but essentially all you need to know is that we can just slide around enemies with hitbox shifting. But right here, we're going to try to jump on top of this pole, which we did nicely, and then that we actually skip a cutscene right there, and there's like a little 6, 7, 8 second cutscene. I don't really know. It's around all that. And we're also not supposed to be in this back half of the level yet, but I like, even if you are not a speedrunner, you could get to the back half of this level with how, like, you just use the double jump and just get here. Like, the intended path is right here, where you're supposed to come back here with the plungers, which allow you to go up steep slopes later on in the game. But I mean, you could just jump. You know what I mean? So we're just gonna do a little ring around the rosy, and then we can just get up there and get those snacks on first path through. And if you also notice, I was passing up snacks earlier in the first half of this level, and that is again because we need the umbrella for those, and we don't have it yet. So right here, you're gonna see me kind of just manip this fish, maybe? Nope. But we're just gonna slide around him with a head, and so basically right here, you're gonna see it more egregiously, where when we are using our trigger attack, our hitbox shrinks to our head, so as long as we're aiming our head away from enemies, we can literally just slide right next to them. We can basically be right on top of them, and they won't hit us, right? And so that allows us to basically slide past a lot of these enemies and make it so that we don't get hit, which is really big, and a really big piece of why Scooby's charge attack is really just so good for moving around, because, you know, long distances, it just makes us faster, right? And then we can also avoid enemies with it, so it's kind of like a 2-for-1 gimmick. Well, right here, we're supposed to technically hit a button with the Super Smash in order to stop these boxes from moving, but we can just kind of move on top of them without that. And if we move in a certain way, we don't get what is known as boxed, because it basically, if the box is traveling up towards you and you're falling down into it, you will clip through the box and die. So luckily, we did not get boxed there, which is very nice. And this is another point of... This is the last point of the version differences, at least between the GameCube versions, the 1.0 and 1.1 version of the GameCube game. There's basically just an invisible fishnet here in the 1.0 version, and there's not in the 1.1 version. And so what we're going to do is just miss the fishnet, because I actually did that in practice yesterday, so that's pretty good. Normally, you don't miss that very often, but, you know, it is invisible, so technically...
Yeah, I was about to say, it's invisible, you know, like, that's not your fault.
That's just kind of, well,
I mean, it technically, you know what, we'll just blame the game on this one. Come on.
Yeah, it's the game's fault. It's not my fault.
Yep,
I'll just take this a bit more carefully this time. But there's the invisible fishnet, and now we're gonna do what is known as coast boats, where we're collecting these snacks again. We're supposed to use the Super Smash in order to basically have the visible fishnet active, so that we can get over here. Nice. But instead, we can just do it without it, and then just finish our coast boats just like that. I also, you know, played that a bit risky. Cole knows what I mean, and we'll talk about it if it ever occurs. But for now, we're just going to kind of move on to the Smash levels, where we're going to get our Super Smash upgrade.
Yeah, so this level also acts as sort of like a crossroads, hence why it's called Which Way. So we're going to be coming back to this level for quite a bit. But I can speak English. We're going to go down this path right here and collect all the snacks here, because we are about to get, as Nestani said, the Super Smash, which is essentially like the ground pound move in this game. It's incredibly useful. That you gotta love the fish monsters in this game, you know? But now that we have the helmet, I guess since we got the time, Nestani's going to go for some frame perfects. And essentially how frame perfects work is that when you charge into a button or an enemy, if you let go of the charge button right when you hit the enemy, then you actually remove what's called the bonking animation. And it just saves a little bit of time, a nice time save. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful right there. You gotta love it. But this room is actually where we're going to get our ground pound, the super smash. And the whole gimmick behind this room is that we press that button and the light bulb for the lighthouse that we're in just rises up to the top, and we have to make sure we get there in time so that we can break the light bulb and get the power up. But but because we are just so fast, because again, we're pro gamers, obviously, we can just charge past all these enemies, so we can kind of dilly-dally in the floor a little bit and get those snack boxes. And look at that, there we go.
Over two.
We got another free perfect, let's go. And yeah, there's the ground pound right there.
You're really excited about this, huh?
It was, I mean, that was an almost perfect lighthouse one, like, come on. But we gotta collect these 4 snacks as well. This is the only time we ever collect these 4 snacks. So a little fun fact there, and we're gonna try and avoid kind of making contact with the enemies as much as possible. So we're gonna try and jump around them, but sometimes like this, it's useful to ground pound on the enemy because you get an extra jump off of it. And sometimes we just like to do that, where we just say, screw you, and we'll just be on our merry way. Very nice making those hook cycles, by the way. Those hooks can really throw you off out of bounds. And this, we're not really going to talk about snack gates because we collect every single snack, but this is a really cool one because this is the only time we pay this snack gate. Because normally we would take a super secret shortcut in the game in Shock 2, but because we have so many snacks and it'll save a load, we actually pay that snack gate. So a little fun fact right there. But yeah, so now we're on our way to get the next invention that we'll get, called the plungers, as well as that room will unlock a level that we'll backtrack to multiple times as well, which we'll see in a sec. But yep, right here. And then something cool that you'll see with the ground pound in the next level is
before you talk about that, I want to bring up something that we haven't talked about yet, which is Scooby's jump. So right here, I didn't show it off very well, but what we can do is that we can, specifically with Scooby's second jump, we can basically, I didn't get to show it off there, but we can basically double jump and basically move our hitbox so that we can avoid getting hit. I obviously didn't show it off very well there. I got hit twice, but trust me, you can basically use Scooby's hitbox to basically just to avoid enemies, right? And so we can use that a lot. And so not only can we slide around enemies with our charge attack, we can also, wow, that's so unfortunate. We can also jump by them as well to avoid them as well. So we have 2 methods of avoiding enemies and just getting hit in general. And then right there is what Cole was about to talk about, where we can extend the amount of time that we're in the air because we actually retain directional movement while we're in the air when we super smash. So whenever you super smash, you keep your height, and then you can move a little bit left, right, forward, backwards. You know, you can move in a direction while you're super smashing, and so that allows us to kind of keep our height and go in a specific way, just to give ourselves a little bit of extra distance, which you're about to see again right here. When I jump into the snack box, I'm going to jump, use the super smash to extend my hang time so I can get to that snack box, so I don't have to come back for it later on. And then right here is the plungers that he was talking about. These are our new kicks that will basically just allow us to go up steep slopes, which will be very useful coming up pretty soon. But right here, we're just going to leave Creepy 3 and hit this warp gate, because again, we're going to come back to it a bit later on in the run. And then right here, we're going to finally actually get all the snacks in Mystery Machine. So right here, we're going to get all snacks collected finally. And now we're going to do a little bit of backtracking, because right now what we want to do is that we want to get to Green Ghost. And so if you know, the intended path to Green Ghost is to go through the Skull Cliff levels, the Misbehaving levels, and then like the Crypt levels to get to Green Ghost. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut out one section of that while we get that token on our way back, because we need the helmet in order to open up, in order to open up that gate. And so the way that we do that is a trick known as Skull Cliff Skip, or SCS, where it basically will just put us right in Misbehaving 1. so that we can just skip the skull cliff levels, and that's in the next level. But right here, we're gonna go up this oil, I guess. It kind of looks like tar, but it's oil, and basically that is what the plungers allow us to do. It allows us to get up that slope right there, so that we can get these snacks in the back half of Hedge 2. And we're gonna run up another one of the slopes again with our new orange kicks, and we're just gonna kind of run up the thing. You actually don't get to see them there because I'm just B-dashing up there, but that is where we would be activating the plungers, and then we're kind of just going to go around in the circle and finish collecting all of these snacks. Well, again, try to do it there again. I'm failing the jump tech for avoiding things, you know.
Yeah.
I'll hit it eventually. You'll see it at some point.
Yeah.
Okay. And so right here, this is actually another instance where we don't need the galoshes. So we're going to make a very specific cycle here, where we're going to super smash off of a what are these guys called? Scarecrow. We're going to super smash off the Scarecrow's head in order to avoid this tar. So what we're going to do is jump, super smash. Super smash refreshes our jump, and then we can get to this ledge, inch backwards, hit that snack, and then we can get all of these snacks, and then we can get here without needing the galoshes. Hit the token, all snacks collected in Hedge, and so now we are officially done with Hedge. And then now we're going to do SCS, which is actually a really funny trick, because you all can do this one at home. And how you do it is you hold up left on the D-pad, and then you just walk into the game. And then you just do it. And that puts you in Misbehaving much earlier than you're intended to. And fun fact, in any percent and a lot of other categories in this game, we actually get to Misbehaving before we have the helmet and the Super Smash. So we actually normally get here super early on in other runs. But, you know, since we have to go through Hedge 4, because basically the long and short is that going backwards through the Skull Cliff levels is faster to get to the helmet than going forwards through the Hedge 4 auto-scroller. The rest of Misbehaving, what we're going to be doing is that we're just going to be using the slippery floor to our advantage here while collecting these keys, and that slope is also another thing where we need to use the plungers for. We do have another skip called Plunger Skip, where we can actually do that. We can actually get up that slope by, again, ground pounding on top of a fish, but we don't need to do that because we have the upgrade required, right? So no reason to do a trick if we have an easier and faster way of doing it. We're just going to kind of finish up this top half of Misbehaving 1 before we get into Misbehaving 2. I'm going to do another skid jump here. And then an important property about the ice is that you actually can't B-dash while you're on it. So you saw me jump there so that I can refresh and then use the B-dash afterwards. And just so I can dash up the hill. Otherwise, because basically with the plungers, you actually do a pretty slow walking animation when they're active. But if you're able to B-dash before you land with the plungers, you can basically cancel that out, because the plungers also act like the fish floor, like the slippery floors, where you have to jump and then land with the B button in order to activate your dash with the plungers as well. So pretty similar to the ice floor. Right here, what we're going to do is just fall in between this iceberg. Normally you're supposed to knock those down in order to do this level, but we can just avoid them and then jump on this ledge and then make our way into Misbehaving 3, my favorite level in the entire game. And if you can't tell, you probably are sniffing it out. It's one of those stinky auto scrollers.
No.
But much like Hedge 4, there are no checkpoints in this level. And so if we miss a snack on the way up, because essentially how this level works is that we're going to hit this button and then we're going to start sending the water all the way up. Now, the concerning part is not anywhere near the beginning, it's near the end, because there's some really tight jumps that we need to make that you're going to see me making with the Super Smash. And essentially, since there is no checkpoints in this level, if we die at any point, we have to start over again. And so this is one level that I am also concerned about, where if I hit this, I will be very happy, no matter what my time is. Because this is a 2-minute long auto-scroller. So, yeah, and if we die at the very end, we have to sit through it again. So hopefully that doesn't happen. And yeah, but overall, this level is normally not scary in any other category. This is actually the only category in the game where this level is slightly concerning. Because otherwise we just don't collect the snacks at the top. And I'll let Cole talk more about it right after this, because we are on Twitter Boat, because we can literally take our controller and then put it down, take our hands off, and we can go on Twitter if we want. It's just what we call it. Although I guess maybe we don't call it. Maybe we won't call it Twitter vote anymore. But yeah. Anyway, moving on. Cole, you got it.
Yeah. So once we are done typing on our social media platforms, here's the part. So how it's gonna work is because these boats fall, right? And we're gonna use that super smash technique that we were talking about earlier, so that we can kind of stay in the sky a little bit longer, and that just ensures that we get the snacks in these arcs just like that, perfect. And it also allows us to kind of slow the boats slowly sinking as well. So there we go. We did not miss any snacks in that arc. All snacks collected. Let's go.
Okay.
Get out of here now.
Okay, we're good. We've done it. We've made it
Yeah.
past the scary part. And so right here is also another huge thing, because you see those snacks up top. We actually can't get those yet. And so what we need to do is that we actually need to fight Redbeard before we can get those. So we're going to get that warp gate. Very important that we get that for our backtracking purposes later on. And right here we're going to do a little bit of a key cycle just to collect. Oh, hello, Mr. Ghost. We're going to get those keys in the fastest manner possible, collecting all the snacks on the bottom. And then you're going to see me death abuse here. And we haven't really talked about death abusing much, but essentially what death abusing does is we can use death abusing to skip cutscenes. So there's a cutscene at the beginning of that, and basically we triggered the cutscene and then died, and we spawned back at where we entered the level. So you're going to see us death abuse a little bit more and the run, but essentially all you need to know about death abusing is that whenever we die in a level, it spawns you back to where you entered the level. So we're going to use it a couple times for backtracking purposes and whatnot. But we can also use it to our advantage to skip cutscenes. And so this is also the last auto-scroller of the game. So yay, we're done with auto-scrollers officially. And so we're just going to knock this urn down. 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to sit on this guy for just a second while this cutscene plays, because if you're in the air while this cutscene plays, you just you fall to the ground, which is not that cool. But we're going to get those snacks on the way down because we want to stay up there so we can get those snacks. And then you're going to see us do the thing where we don't run into the door, so that we keep our skid frames again. We don't really know why it happens, but we're going to keep our skid frames so that we can actually skid off and die and skip an 8-second cutscene here. And then you're going to see me do a little bit of setup, because we're actually going to come back to this level later. So I'm going to hit this urn open, and that snack box will actually perpetually stay outside of that urn for when we come back here a bit later. And then right here, what we're going to do in Crypt is that we're going to kind of just go to the right, get these 3 snacks, and then we're going to kind of just complete our little circle around, and we're going to be collecting a monster token here that you might have missed, because there's right behind this wall, there's a monster token here. So we're just going to go ahead and get that, bonk this guy, and then we're going to hit this warp gate, and then we're going to leave, because you'll see in a second, but essentially, that warp gate is connected to another warp gate in the game. And so normally you would actually pay the 600 gate there to go into Gloom 1, and then you would do Gloom 1. But what we're going to do is that we're just going to walk away for now, and we're just going to go up here, and we're going to go into Crypt 4, and we're going to kind of, this is kind of just a dead-end room, so we're just going to kind of just do this room. We're going to collect all the snacks in this room, and then we're going to immediately leave. And so what we're going to do here, a snack box in this urn as well, fun fact, and then we're just going to finish up here, and then we're going to do another pod storage. And so, as I mentioned, the warp gate that we activated there is actually linked up to another warp gate. They basically copy and pasted the code for whatever reason, so if you activate one warp gate, you activate the other. So what we're going to do here, we're going to hit this pod storage, and then you see this, it's not active, but I can just warp to it just like this, even though it's not active. And this actually takes us to Gloom 2, which is past the 600 snack gate, so we don't have to pay the 600 snack gate and sit through that animation. We have the snacks to do it, right? But if we could skip an animation, why not? And then also, what you're going to see us do is do Gloom 1 backwards, which is actually faster than doing it forwards. But we'll talk about that in a second, because right now we're about to fight our first boss of the game, Green Ghost. So what we're going to do is, 40 minutes deep into the run, we're going to fight our first boss of the game. and we're gonna basically just get all the snacks on our way to him, and then get the 2 keys to open up his door. And basically how this boss fight works, if you don't know, is that I like to call him RNGG, because if you can't tell, it's RNG. What you want to do is match up with Daphne. This is actually an incredibly good start, because if he starts specifically like this, we get 2 hits immediately, which is nice. So 1, 2, and we need 3 total. So if he goes to the right here and doesn't shoot lightning, Sag, he went to the left, that would have been a perfect green ghost. But he can shoot lightning, and basically we want him to match up with Daphne with these coffins so that he flies into the coffins. And that was actually really good.
Pretty good. That was really good.
I will take that. Yeah. And so we're going to do another pause storage here. And then we're going to actually warp back to the Gloom 2 warp gate that we just activated. And we're actually warping right before the cutscene plays, so that we skip the cutscene, and we also skip the animation of like the game telling us, hey, you have the umbrella and like what it does and stuff, because it pops up a text box. And then right here, we're going to be hitting these buttons on the ground. Don't worry about them just yet. We're just going to kind of move on while we do this. I'm going to get hit by this guy, and I'm actually going to go behind him, because there's another token here. I'm actually notorious for missing that token, so that's good that we got that token. I have it in my splits. It literally says token in all caps, in case you want to. And then
I think I do too.
We're going to go into Gloom 1, which is, again, these doors open. Since we're not technically supposed to be here, the doors just kind of open, so there's normally we have to get like some keys to unlock some doors, but instead we don't need to get the key, and we don't need to save Shaggy to unlock the door. So much like we've been doing the whole run, we're going to ignore Shaggy's cries for help, and we're just going to leave him by himself.
Holy crap, that makes it sound so bad.
we don't care about his well-being. We're just gonna move our way, and then we're gonna get hit, and we're gonna death abuse here back to the beginning of the level, and then now we're going to do honestly the worst part of Hundo. This is pure RNG. This is really the only like super major point of RNG.
Wow, you did it. You got
Hundo. 4. I got 4. Nice. Yeah. So essentially, okay, I got 1. So if you notice, snacks popped out of the coffins there, and I'll actually let Cole explain this, because he explains it way better than me.
Okay, yeah, so in the background there's 4 coffins, and essentially how it works is that when you press these buttons, what either comes out is a bunch of Scooby snacks, which we need to collect, or ghosts. So the first time we actually came through this level, we had a 100% success rate in at least getting one of the coffins. You can only get 1 at a time, but if that same coffin gets chosen again by the indicator that I won't go too into, that's a little bit complicated. Did you just... Are you serious? Oh my gosh. So the thing is that you can fail. You can just spend like 10 minutes here just absolutely pressing these buttons, waiting to get these snacks, because it's just completely RNG. So it goes from 100% chance of getting a coffin, 75 to 50
to 25. So the last coffin is a 25% chance. And I got still lucky.
Wow.
And I got
all snacks collected. There you go.
Yeah, and then now we're just...
That's sick. That's such a cool thing to show off. That is so rare.
We take those, and I don't mean to alarm anyone, but we might be on PB pace after that one.
Nice.
That's pretty good. I'll keep you updated. But so right here, we're just gonna not troll, and we're just gonna do this. A little technical. That looks way easier than it is. You actually have to do like a little flipping motion as you fall down there, because it's actually pretty difficult to get those snacks in one fluid motion on the way down. But we're gonna kind of just make our way through here, get this snack box that again I said was just there, right? And then we don't have to open up the urn again, and with that animation. So right here, this is another dead end room, which you guessed it, we're gonna pause storage at the end of it. But first, we're gonna ground pound that guy and just kill that gargoyle so he's not in the way, because essentially at the bottom we die if we fall, and if we get hit by the gargoyle's fire, it sends us straight down into our death. So we just don't want to be participating in that. I'm feeling pretty good. But what we're gonna do here is that we're gonna super smash, and then we've hit that snacks, and so now we have officially Got all snacks collect and encrypt. You didn't see the pop-up because there's a menu in the way, but we did get all snacks collect and encrypt. And then now we're going to make our way through Lighthouse, and we're going to finish collecting all the snacks in Lighthouse and Which Way both. And basically, Lighthouse 3 is another dead-end level, but since we're actually, you saw those snacks right to the right there, we're going to come right back here, so we're going to do another death abuse at the end of this level. This level can be pretty scary, just because of how water works in this game. And so, essentially, if I die in this level, you're going to see me exit and re-enter, so hopefully I'm not going to die in this level. But it's pretty easy to, just because these both sink, and so I'm going to play this one pretty safe. But another thing that can happen is that this level is just really good, and that water can clip over the boat, so you're about to see it right there. It just clips over the boat right there, and if we get hit by that, we just die. So there's certain spots like that where we could just like absolutely get owned by the water, because it just says, yo, we're just gonna go over the boat here, don't mind us, and we're like, please don't do that, we don't want to participate in water. But luckily that didn't happen. We're gonna jump over here, float over here to this little island with this last snack box, and we're gonna see all snacks collected, jump in the water, and then we're going to death abuse back to the beginning of the level. And then we're going to exit. We're going to go into Which Way, and then we're going to get another 100% all snacks collected here as we do a jump float down there and not miss that snack. We do have a backup in case we miss that, because we go all the way down, because there's actually an invisible wall there. But luckily, I don't have to show that because I realized it soon enough. All snacks collected, and I'm going to shut up literally forever. I'll see you all in like 2 minutes.
Yeah. So this is a very infamously hard part, not only casually but in the speedrun as well, called the ship levels, and they consist of 3 wreck on the deck parts, a gas on the mast parts 1, 2, and 3, and then the shiver your timber Scooby levels. Great names, I know. But right now we're in wreck, and we just made this cycle right here because the water is oscillating up and down, so we can just jump across. And there's a button right there, but we're actually not going to press it, and it normally lowers those 2 like tops of the ships right there, but we're actually going to ground pound on the like masts right there, so that we can get to this spot way earlier and get that 1 snack. There are troll snacks, everybody, so there's these developers just love to put random snacks in places, and that jump right there that he just did with the skid jump and the umbrella, that looks so much easier than it actually is. Same with this. There's an invisible ledge on that boat, and normally how this level works is that you have to press 3 buttons to make platforms move, and there's a whole cutscene that plays, but we actually do this level completely buttonless. So that jump right there, as difficult as it is, saves a good amount of time. And so yeah, these trampolines are the ones that normally move. And yeah, this level is infamously just very hard and annoying casually, and the same is applicable to speedrunning as well, due to the fixed camera angle. And you know, the drop shadow only helps you so much. And right here we're gonna do another really cool skid jump right here, because you can stand on the middle here, and then you can skid, double jump, and then we'll do the ground pound again. That is a very tricky jump as well. Again, if you die in this level, you got to start all the way back from which you came. So a lot of time lost there if you didn't get it. There's one more tricky jump right here in this level, where we're going to do a skid jump to get that entire arc of snacks. If you jump too low, then you actually just don't get the height to get on the trampoline. And there you go, a nice solid Rec 2 death free. Oh my gosh, my internet literally lagged. That's how good that Rec 2 was. I froze there for a sec. But now we're here in Rec 3. Immediately we're gonna jump on some invisible ledges right here, and just bonk right on that witch right there to collect all these snacks, which normally we'd have to jump down for and go all the way back up, and that's incredibly annoying. And yeah, we be speedrunning. So we're gonna glide up here. We're gonna well, we don't have to actually now thanks to the fish cycle, but you can actually kind of shimmy your way around the fish to avoid getting hit by it. And right here, you can see a little door up there. There's actually a cutscene that plays, and we're going to try and do a cutscene skip right here with this ledge.
Whatever.
Didn't get it. Not a big deal. It doesn't lose too much time. And you see that button right there? Normally, you'd want to press that to activate a platform, but we're actually not going to press that button at all. We're just in here to collect these snacks, and then you'll see how we are going to clear this level without doing the intended way here in just a second. But yeah, here we go. So there's a monster token up here that we want to get. So normally you'd probably want to use the soap. I would assume I've never done it casually. But there's an invisible ledge right there. Get that monster token, and then we're going to jump on this invisible wall right here. And this is the exit boat right here. But there's some snacks over here we need to get, and that is the boat, that motor boat right there, that we need that button to press. But because there's like the dispatch trigger on the boat, we're able to just completely skip pressing that button. So, and now we're personally at my least favorite level in the entire game, a gas 1, because the whole gimmick behind this level is that there are these 4 giant slippery boats that really just mess around with momentum and your speed and stuff like that, and you have to glide everywhere. Another terrible part about this level is this is another level that you cannot go backwards in. So if you miss a snack gliding through these arcs like this, and you gotta die, you gotta reset, you gotta go through the whole level again, going uphill, and it's super slow and it's really annoying. Also, this level has death planes, and it is very infamous for the death planes to poke through a little bit, and if you hit it just right, then you just die for no reason, and it's like, whoop-de-doo. But there's a lot of cool movement tech like that, where you can kind of use your momentum for your advantage. It can kind of make or break your time in this run. But it's unfortunate because in like 100% specifically, you know, you have to get every single snack, but in other categories, you're able to use this momentum a little bit more effectively and more easily, perhaps, just to get out of these levels, because it's like you do not want to be here for that long. So yeah, you're gonna see some more momentum stuff in a bit. Also, the edges of the boat kind of have it as well. We gotta go over to this super secret boat here. Normally you need the soap invention to come over here as well. And thankfully there aren't as many snacks on this boat because there are snack boxes, which again cost 5 snacks. Also, bouncing on the crabs is also a very nice strategy. But right there, nice use of the momentum again. And now we are at many people's least favorite levels. And I don't like this level a lot either. And it's a gas 2, and it's not really the beginning of this level. The beginning of this level is pretty straightforward. We're just going to run by these crabs. We're going to bonk this ghost diver right on the head, and we're going to press this button because in this room on the right there is the Redbeard monster token that we're going to get, and then we got to press another button to unlock the second half of this level. And the second half of this level isn't pretty, and I'll explain it more in a sec because it's quite easy to see how this level can really make or break a person's speedrun. So right here specifically, so first of all, platforming over water is just no bueno already, but then we got moving platforms and a really weird camera angle that again we can't control because the camera's automatic in this game. So we have to be very careful because again we got to collect every single snack in this level to ensure that we get 100%. Now the really cool guys that like really practice this level go for a specific cycle to get all the snacks and nice, reach this platform at the end perfectly. But I mean, look, come on, like this camera angle, I mean, it's got the great early 2000s vibes. Oh, that was right at the end too. You played it a little risky there, but oof, it's a punishing level, but I have depression.
I have not made it through these wreck levels yet without dying. Like through the shipwreck levels, I have not made through these levels one time without dying. So that I was so close because I guess 2 was really like the last level that you really need to be concerned with dying. And that's just unfortunate, dude. I was so close.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well,
it's fine.
What are you gonna do?
I played Wreck perfectly, so I'm not actually that bent out of shape with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're still well
We're still
underestimated.
cruising right along. Yeah, for sure.
But we're just gonna get these last snacks.
Ooh.
All right, there we go.
There we go.
All right, we're
Nice.
out. We're out. One death. I'll take it. I'll take a one death. I'll take a one death. We're all good. We're all good. But yeah, this level much less concerning normally, but sometimes you can get giga trolled by these life preservers because you can literally just fly through them. I literally lost. I think my current PB right now. I lost like a minute because I just literally phased right through one of these, and then I just landed in the water. I was like, that's cool. I enjoyed that. But we're just gonna go up here, and then what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna leave because up there is the 750 snack gate, which leads into Shiver. But right now we're gonna just collect the rest of these snacks at the bottom of the gallery here because we want to again reduce backtracking. Before we get into Shiver, and right here we're gonna do a little old trick, a little OG trick that we used to do in any percent when we used to come in this level. We're gonna do this fish bounce jump up there. It's a very tight jump, so unfortunately we didn't get it, but we're gonna go for it again on this guy. This one, since it's much higher, since the life preserver is lower, a bit easier to get to it. But we get all snacks collected,
Nice.
and then now we're on our way into Shiver, which is probably again one of the hardest levels, but not dangerous. It's just hard, which is nice.
Yeah. So the whole gimmick behind this level is that we need to collect 4 keys to access the boss door, which is Redbeard. So the first thing we're going to do is climb up this rope right here, because normally you'd have to go through these very slow platforms that do like this whole turning thing, and then they raise up. So we just get to skip it all in general. But then the next 2 keys are on these trampolines here, and because we have to collect every snack, it can be a little tricky to get all these snacks effectively. You really just have to get a feel for the momentum of the trampoline and kind of the movement of Scooby in general. But look at that, Nestani did a very good job. That is very, very well done. It can be quite annoying to just get one snack from that arc. But look at that.
Absolutely disgusting.
Pro gaming in here. Pro gaming. But then we press that button in the middle so that we can raise these conveyor belts to get these snacks, as well as get the 4th key. So now we're able to enter Redbeard, but we're not done with this level yet. There's the caveman. Bonk him on the head. And then we just got to collect these snacks up here, which apparently you're supposed to use the gum for, but we can actually just jump on the wheel right here to get these snack boxes. And before we get into the boss fight, we got to explain what we're going to do for this boss fight, because while this boss fight isn't technically RNG, it's basically a flip of the coin. So how this boss fight works is normally that there is an enemy wave that comes in, and then we have to stand next to one of those 4 ropes you see in the corners of the room, and Redbeard's going to throw his sword at it, and then eventually, once all 4 ropes are cut, we'll defeat the boss. So it's basically kind of like an auto-scroller, but we're going to try and cut multiple ropes at the same time right here, and if we get all 4, excellent, then we just get to skip the entire boss fight, because it actually gives us the item and counts as percentage for defeating the boss without actually having to go through
We are
all
on
of it. And if you...
case, by the way.
If we,
I'm 2.5 minutes ahead.
Wow. Oh, and you got the door. So that door is also, you want to die and enter that door at the same time, because you have to do a little mini game with Shaggy here, but you can also just die in this room. For whatever reason, death just
too much health.
completely deactivates. But yeah, you have too much health, so we just got to talk to Shaggy. It's not too bad of a time loss, but that door is also very infamous for just being a bit of a time loss, because you got to do it over and over again.
You know,
so.
I got through there first try, so it's not the worst thing ever.
No, of course
essentially,
not.
like, normally what happens there is that you get hit by the fire and you die at the same time as you enter the room. And so that triggers that button that I sat Shaggy on to basically just, get out of my way, my guy. I would do it, but it's late, and I don't want to wake people up. But
Same.
it basically just has that button just pressed down already. We don't necessarily know why it happens, but it does. And so we can also do a thing where we clip through that gate there, but just straight up, I suck at it and I can't do it, so I don't go for it. And I just go and pick up the key, and I lose 2 seconds. And you know, I'll own losing 2 seconds in a 100% run. You know what I mean? I'm we're gonna get another frame perfect, and then we're gonna go up here, activate this button that will allow us to float up to the top, and yeah, and basically, now that we fought Redbeard, we can use the gum, which I guess, do we use? I mean, we use it at the end of the run. We don't use it that much, to be honest. And we're just gonna kind of go through here. Actually, didn't have to kill that guy because I got the frame perfect. I didn't realize that, but we're going to collect these keys in a very certain order, because these keys open up the purple door in the back there, like kind of right under. But what we're going to do is float into this, and then we're actually going to leave the room after we've collected the keys. Normally, if you collect all the keys in a room and then you leave, you have to recollect the keys if you don't like actually open the door. But for whatever reason in this room, we just if we collect all 4 keys, we skip the cutscene right here, so the door opens automatically, and we don't actually have to watch that cutscene. And then this fan is the slowest fan in the game, and so I actually don't know for sure if this is faster, but I've been playing around with it recently, where I actually just do a wall climb up to the top, and then I just float down and collect these snacks, and then do another wall climb. It feels a bit faster.
It looks faster.
It looks faster, but I don't know for sure.
Looks can be deceiving. All snacks collected, also.
All snacks collected, and so we finished Gus, and now we're going to do a little bit of tricky stuff and Stellar that will look slower, but I promise you it's like faster by like 5 seconds, like just barely. And so that's going to take place in the next level right here. We're just going to do a little out and back, and then we're going to just keep refreshing the door opening, because that chain opens up that door for us to open to get up here to access Cellar 2. And this is where it gets a little weird. So we're going to do a cycle here, but we're going to get those snacks specifically on that side of the room. And that's because there are actually snacks above our head right now, and normally you need to refresh the cycle with these enemies and use them to gain the height required in order to get the snacks above us. But what we're going to do is basically collect half the room and leave, instead of running all the way back to the beginning of the room to do that cycle again. And that's because you're going to notice I'm taking a very long trek right here through Cellar right here, where this is actually a really long way, because we're actually wrapping back in Cellar 3 to Cellar 1, and we're going to do another soap skip, because again, we just don't care about the soap at all in this run, because we can just fall down with our charge attack and then hit the button. Normally we're supposed to soap one of those ghosts in order to make it all the way up there in order to hit the button, but we can just do it without the soap. And so again, we skip the need of having the soap and skip the need of having to backtrack there. And then now we're going to do the other part of this room where we use our Super Smash there, and then we're going to fall down here and then hit these snacks and then go. And the biggest reason why this is faster is because the load time going into Cellar 2 is so short, because the room is so small, and we have variable load times based on like when we enter levels. Like for example, going into Mr. Machine, it's about 7 seconds, and going into that level is about like 3 or 4 seconds, right? And so since the room's just so much smaller, there's less to load, and so we load in faster. And so actually like going around in a circle like that unironically is faster than just like doing the level the first time that we are in it, which is the only instance that is the case in the entire game. Normally it's just faster to complete the level the first time you enter it, but in that specific instance it is not, which is pretty interesting. I am nasty. That jump is really hard.
That ledge is pretty hard.
I am playing really good right now, which is nice. It's a good change.
You're a pro gamer, bro.
This is a good change of pace. I've been kind of trolling a little bit lately, so this is nice.
Yeah, this level is this level is where you get the soap power up, but we're going to watch this cutscene first. And this first half of the room, we have to press these 4 buttons in the corner to unlock the gate in the background. We're going to jump on that ice cube right there, which will slide to the left, and that'll help us get a snack box right in the middle, because we're going to kind of just cut through the middle of this level to collect the rest of the snacks here. And then once we collect these snacks right here, there's the ice cube right there. We're going to make it to the second half of this room, where we're able to actually charge right underneath the ghosts.
I've never been that fast before.
That's yeah. Again, you're
punished for being
gaming
good,
right
Sag.
now. Yeah, I know, right? But yeah, we kind of just take the room into parts, make sure we smash open the dryers rather, to get some Scooby snacks. All snacks collected, and there you go. Boom, we got the soap power up, which allows us to make enemies platforms.
And a big thing about the soap and why we collect it basically almost last is because we literally only use it one time in the entire run. And right here, what we're going to do is a fun trick where we're just going to just clip through the wall and fall out of bounds and then warp to the other side of the level. And you might be asking, what? And so that is what is known as a void warp, which essentially is just a failsafe. So whenever you get out of bounds, there's a failsafe that activates in the game that basically warps you to the intended beginning entrance of a level. And so it basically warped us to the conjunction, like the joining door between Climber 3 and Climber 4, since we're in Climber 4 right now. And so we basically just clip out of bounds because for some reason you can just clip out of bounds there. And then we basically just trigger that failsafe, and then we just kind of just warp to the other side of the level. We do a lot of void warps in other categories, but this is actually the only void warp that we do in this category specifically because we're not really trying to go too fast necessarily. We're just trying to, collect all the snacks. But it's a fun trick. It's a very neat trick. There's a lot more flashy ones that we do in other categories, but it's always fun just to be able to show off one of them, right?
Yeah.
And then right here, I'm going to get trolled by this wall. And then I'm going to jump up here. You can get different ledges along these walls here in order to get up top. I think you're supposed to either gum or soap something in order to actually get up here. But we can just use the wall in order to jump up. And you're going to see that a lot in the later manor levels. And so this is the main reason why we are doing the manor so late in the run. So I kind of want to talk about that for a second because you'll notice that we are in the manor very late into the game and we're fighting the first boss second to last. And there's a big reason for that because right there you actually saw I took the shortcut with the umbrella, and that skips the upstairs levels and the don't look down levels. Now you may be asking, well, why are we skipping levels 100% run? We need to have them to 100% the game, and you would be right. But the thing about the upstairs levels and the don't look down levels specifically is that this chandelier is scary because if you hit that you drop all the way to the bottom, so that's why I was being a little careful there. But essentially we're gonna go through those levels backwards later on, and we basically can skip those levels and get to the Black Knight boss fight earlier. Now there's a myriad of reasons why going through those levels backwards is faster, but we'll just get to that when we do it. But just know that we're gonna be going back to those levels later. And also just we can't if we were to go into this level earlier, we actually couldn't go into that little hallway to the right because we wouldn't have the plungers, and we would just slide down the slide rather than being able to open up the spider webs and access the snacks to the right. And so again, removes backtracking because we actually need the plungers a lot in the next couple of levels in order to collect all the snacks that we need to be collecting. And so all these upgrades that we've been collecting throughout the game really just come into play here because now we can just do all we can 100% all of these rooms in one go on our way to the Black Knight because again, tar wasn't used that much, so we don't need the galoshes. And Attic is actually some of my favorite levels just because of how nice this charge movement is, getting all of these snacks and just making all the way through here. And then I like super smashing that guy. You can't go for a frame perfect there. I just don't do that because I lose half a second for super smashing him. I'm fine with that. We're gonna do a little. No, we're not gonna wiggle around him, but we're just gonna go up through here and we're gonna kind of just finish 100%ing Attic. But a thing about Attic is that you're going to notice is that you actually saw Attic 2, 3, and this one's Attic 4, and you saw Cower in the Tower 1. Tower counts as a part of the Attic completion, so you'll notice that there is no all snacks completed when we get to the end of this because we have not collected all the snacks in Tower, because there's actually some snacks at the top of Tower, which is actually the exit of the Black Knight boss fight, which, fun fact, we do a trick known as BKE where we can actually access... Did I miss a snack?
I think you did.
Yeah, where we basically get to the Black Knight boss fight earlier than intended. Okay. It's a little troll there because you can barely see what you're doing up top on the roof there, but we got all those snacks luckily. and then we're gonna miss that snack like a gangster, and then we're gonna keep making our way on through. But yeah, essentially you're not gonna see an all snacks collected because tower is part of the attic levels. Tower 1 is quote unquote attic 1, so that is why you're not gonna see that. But we're gonna remedy that as soon as we fight Black Knight, and then we're gonna go back into tower to finish that up. So right here, again, we're gonna now enter the starting levels.
Yeah, and in this level, we're going to try and make a lot of different cycles here. So the first part of this room is that we're kind of just going to go around the world right here and collect all these snacks. We're going to utilize our charging, and then we're going to have to press that button on the left, where we're going to cut through the middle to grab a snack box first. So right there, you see the gate drop, and you see a headless specter over there, and we want to actually make a cycle with that headless specter so that we can collect these snacks a little bit more easily. So we're going to jump up here, up top, and get this arc first, and then boom, we beat the headless specter, that first snack, and that headless specter right here. And this is one of the many reasons why we save the mana levels for later. We needed the plungers to get those snacks right there. And then we have these one-shot fire pillar things that are really, really fun. We really enjoy that. And we also made a cycle with that, making this level look easy peasy lemon squeezy. And we're going to charge down the roof tiles. Normally, when you would enter through this level casually, this place is super slippery, but because we're doing this way out of order and have the plungers, it makes life a lot easier. And we're just going to do a cool swag cutscene skip right here by jumping on these roof tiles right
Literally
there.
saves a second, but it looks cool.
It looks super cool. So there we go. That was Stormy Night Part 1. Easy peasy. That was super clean. And then, down here below, we can see Shaggy getting chased by the Geronimo enemy. And we're going to do this level a little out of order, too, because normally we'd go to Shaggy and he would throw us up. But because we have the umbrella, we're able just to glide right up on here, get this stray snack box, and we're going to ride the magic carpet to get this line of snacks, and then go back to how you would normally want to get up here and collect these snacks right here. Collect this snack box without getting hit, because that's again a one shot, and that one as well. And then we're going to press this button right here, which will bring Shaggy to it's a funny cutscene, into those chimneys over there, which will help us get those 4 keys, since we don't really have a way to get those keys without reaching there in general past the fire, and also with just the help of Shaggy. So going up.
This is actually the only time where we actually take Shaggy's help, because there's actually no way to get these snacks without using Shaggy, which is kind of unfortunate. But it is what it is. We get all snacks collected again.
Snacks. Oh.
And then now we are finally going to fight Black Knight, the first boss of the game that we're going to fight third, and an hour and like 13 minutes into our hundo run.
Yeah.
Just a little bit out of order. And so we're going to use the umbrella just to float over that tar so we don't have to walk on it. And then, you guessed it, Black Knight, you could probably see, very similar to Green Ghost. We need him to match up over these 4 buttons. We need to hit him on each of these buttons. And it's a bit worse of RNG than Green Ghost, because he can just turn around at any point. It was a great start. Hopefully I didn't curse it by saying that.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Essentially, we want him to go on all 4 of these buttons here, stage. And now we're going to be here for 2 minutes. Now that I said that, I shouldn't have said anything. That's on me, guys. Nothing I can do about that. But this is why he basically goes back and forth, and we need to hit him 1 time on each of the buttons. And so now we just kind of need him to go all the way over to the right, which he is not really obeying. He's not really being a homie right now. He's kind of being the opposite of a homie. But that wasn't too bad. I'll take that. That's pretty good. I will not shake my finger at that, but we're out of there. But completely RNG boss fight again. But luckily, there's really only about like 10 to 10-ish minutes of RNG in Hundo as a whole category, which is a lot less than a lot of other games. Which is why I really enjoy the Hundo run for this game a lot, just because there's so little RNG, and for the most part, especially as you're learning, RNG doesn't really take a toll on your time very much, because you can just get so many PBs by just simply just playing a lot better. And you know, this is a very movement heavy category, which I very much enjoy. But right here, you're going to notice that we are now going through the don't look down levels backwards, and we're going through the upstairs levels backwards. And that's because we're going to kill that guy, and that's because he actually triggers a cutscene to play that we don't want to watch. And so that is the name of the game, cutscenes. There are a lot of cutscenes in these levels that we don't want to watch, and by going through them backwards, we have the opportunity to skip the cutscenes. Most notably, there is like a 30-second cutscene at the beginning of this level that we basically just avoid completely by just jumping into the door and exiting before the cutscene triggers, which is very nice. And we're gonna kind of just gum these gum these ghost guys out of the air so that we basically don't get hit by them, and just spam that gum. See you later. And then you can gum the bat. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. It looks really goofy though.
Yeah. I've never seen that. And then we're just gonna kind of just go over here. We're gonna avoid those little blue flashes on the ground are ice physics, so I'm gonna try to be avoiding those, which is why you saw me kind of lose control of my character for a second. Right here, we're gonna do a really cool jump where we're gonna do another skid jump.
Nice.
And then if we do this correctly, we can hit that snack box and land up here. There is a little ledge that we can land on that basically lets us to go up there, but that is one fluid motion, and then we can fall down, get the rest of the snacks, and we can make our way on our merry way. And we actually collect another power-up, which was the Black Knight armor, which functions the same way as the lampshade and slippers. If you've been watching since the beginning, you'll know that the lampshade and slippers were the sneak mechanic that makes us walk really slowly. The Black Knight armor allows us to sneak and walk really slowly. Don't ask me why armor helps us go skip it, but there was a cutscene there, very long. We skipped that cutscene, and we also skipped paying the snack gate. So if we go backwards through level and there's a snack gate there, we actually won't hit the snack gate, and we'll spawn behind it, meaning that we get to skip the animation of paying that snack gate, which is also another reason that we want to go through these levels backwards, because we can skip all of these cutscenes, and we can also skip paying a snack gate, which is nice, and it just saves a little bit more time, because again, otherwise going through the levels is basically the same speed, right? And so that's just another reason why we wanted to take that shortcut with the umbrella earlier on to get to Black Knight earlier to go through these levels backwards. And we're just gonna kind of just go around here, make sure that we're hitting all these snacks on the sky again. We're gonna actually press the A button there. I don't know if we've talked about it, but if we jump off a trampoline, you can press the A button earlier to basically end your momentum sooner and land sooner. So you actually saw me press the A button to cancel my height, because if you don't press the A button, you just kind of keep going very high. And right here, we're gonna kind of keep going. I guess we're not gonna keep going. I don't know why. There's a wall there blocking my way. Maybe if I like exit and like re-enter, maybe like it'll just like go away. Wouldn't that be cool if it just like went away and I could just like keep going? Wow!
How did you know?
And so the reason why that happens is because normally in this level we're supposed to, guess what, play a minigame with Shaggy. And basically he stands on a button to open up that door. But the thing is, if you ever come back into this level after you do that action, Shaggy isn't there anymore, and so what happens is that the button is already pressed down completely. And so basically what we do there is that we hit Shaggy's dialogue trigger that triggers the game that says, hey, they've completed this level, unlock this button. And so by doing that, we basically just exit and re-enter, because we just hit the flag that says, hey, unlock this wall, and then we re-enter and the wall's unlocked, and we can keep going, because we just tricked the game into thinking that we've gone through the level legitimately, which we have not. So right here, we're going to just do the floor of upstairs 2, and we're just going to jump on the chandelier. And it's very important that I'm touching these chandeliers, because the chandeliers actually remove an invisible wall that you're going to see in a second. And I'm actually going to jump off of this bookcase onto this chandelier, remove the invisible wall, so I can go up here and hit the token. Normally we need to, we'll see in a second, normally you need to open up a little railing in order to get up to the top there, but instead we can just do that in one fell swoop, and then we can just B-dash across the back half of this place. And you're actually going to see me float over the stairs, because the stairs go down. That's the little opening that we can use in order to get to in order to, that is the intended path to those chandeliers and to that token. But again, we just cut that out by doing that, and then we collect the rest of the snacks in upstairs 2, and then we just make our way to upstairs 1.
Yeah, and this is the final part where we're kind of going backwards in these manor levels. Personally, I love this level a lot, especially in another category called No Levels Early. But this category is pretty unique because this is really the only time we ever go through this level backwards like this. There's actually another one of those void warps at the very end of the level, or our beginning in this case. So normally we don't really have to go through this, but this first part of the level here is sort of just a straight line through, and then this level we kind of have to do a little bit more routing. You saw that you could actually just jump right behind that flaming chandelier, so we can still collect the snacks but not get hit and fall to our doom. We're also going to collect those snacks in the middle, do 2 very well aimed and timed charges to collect all those snacks, and then we are going to go through this hallway to take a shortcut back to a level you might recognize if you were here at the beginning of the run. All snacks collected right there. And surprise, we're back here in Clamor 1. We're up top here now, and this is one of the many reasons, again, why we kind of do the order of the levels the way that we do. So we're able to collect all these snacks up here and get that monster token, as well as use the other items we've used, such as the springs and the helmet right here, to help get these snacks in this secret room right here with the bookshelf. And we're just going to be blazing through these Clamor levels right now. In this room as well, this is really where the dead end would lie, since the Metroidvania elements, the spider webs, which you'll see when we get closer to them, like right there, and the one on the left right here. You need the helmet to break them, and now we got the helmet. So it's all Gucci gang here, as the cool kids say.
Frame perfect.
Cool kids. Nice frame perfect. There's a snack box right here that we're just going to jump on the chair for, instead of soaping or gumming that headless specter right there. And then we're just gonna straight shoot it down right here to collect all these snacks, and we're gonna try not to get hit by the fire right here and collect this snack box. There we go. Get these relatively annoying snacks, just because it's not very fluent and you can't really move that well. Yeah, pretty straightforward levels, these ones. These are obviously beginning game levels, so there's not, thankfully, too much going on here in terms of difficulty. And you should probably recognize this room that we have finally made our way back to get the bottom half of this level, because now that we will get all snacks collected in this level set, we're on our way to the Mind Your Manor levels again, and we're going to find 100% that and then get out of here and be in another set.
Oh, shit, that guy.
But,
smacked him in the face.
And then here in Mine 1, because we already got all the snacks, we're actually going to be able to jump on a cool little ledge right there and just skip all the annoying platforming and the ghosts. In the second part of the level, we're also going to jump on some more invisible ledges here to get some snacks on the chandeliers. Pretty sure you're supposed to soap stuff here. Again, this is a thing where even when I casually played it, I didn't do that. And this level is particularly fun. So we got to collect these 4 keys at the start, but we're going to jump on this lamp and then jump over an invisible cutscene trigger that is, I don't remember the exact time, but obviously any cutscene is not a good cutscene. So we're able to skip
it's like 10 seconds.
It is, yeah, it's pretty long. And we were able to charge on that railing for a little bit so we could avoid the enemies and still get the snacks. And we want to make a cycle in this hallway here. Thankfully, this hallway sort of activates or starts with this opening and closing door right here when we enter it. So thankfully, it's not too tight, and it doesn't require us to be conscious of the whole level. But it is still kind of tricky to get it fairly well. But we activated the rope, activated these chandeliers, so we got the Geronimo token and got the snacks here. Thankfully we didn't fall, but we have a nice backup anyway. But again, pro gamer here, so we don't have to deal with that. And then we're on our way to Mind 3. where the layout of this level is actually pretty interesting because our exit is actually to the left, but we got to go in this huge circle first. We're also going to stand on an invisible ledge right there to get that troll snack, which you probably didn't even notice that we collected. Normally, you're supposed to soap one of the ghosts here. Once again, the developers really just liked trolling us, even all the way back in 2002. So also going to utilize the invisible ledges again so that we don't have to use the carpet as much. And then we have a cutscene right here that's going to play, and there's this beautiful chandelier that we are not going to use because we have the umbrella. Obviously, when you go through this level casually, you're not going to have it, but we can just breeze through all these levels right here and collect all these snacks because look at the chandelier back there. That is way too slow for us to deal with. And there we go. We got through that easy peasy lemon squeezy. And sometimes people like to go for a frame perfect right there. Here's another button right here. We don't have to super smash this one. For some reason, they just had some buttons not super smashable. And there we go. This should be 100% for, there we go, all snacks collected. And now we are on our way, finally, as we mentioned much earlier in this run, the Skull Cliff levels.
Yep, and so this is harking back to that warp gate that we got at the very beginning of the run. Very imperative, so that now we can go into the Skull Cliff levels. And again, since we did SCS at the beginning of the run, we get to skip the Skull Cliff levels. And now you're going to see me just send Scooby to his death, because again, guess what? There's a cutscene there. And so we're just going to do another death abuse, skip that cutscene. And then the reason that we wanted to come back through these levels later is because the umbrella is actually...
You got it.
Nice.
Yeah, you got it.
The umbrella is that's actually a really tight cycle that you can only make if you frame perfect the button, which I did. So that was nice, a little swag. I didn't really save much time because I kind of messed up the jump, so I had to super smash anyway. Who cares? I'm swag. But the umbrella is very useful in this level, and this is also the set of levels where this is the only time where we're actually going to use the soap upgrade to our advantage. This is the only time that we're using that upgrade, and so we basically, like, the Skull Cliff levels are the king of the umbrella upgrade and the soap upgrade, which is why we save them for basically last, because if you've been paying attention, we are getting really close to the end of the game right now. Because after these Skull Cliff levels, we are going to initiate our backtracking, where we're going to backtrack for all the snacks that we weren't able to get without because we didn't have the upgrades required at the time in order to get them, right? So right here, we're going to do, this is actually a very similar cycle that we do in any percent, where we make it past this boulder here without it falling on us, just like that. And then we're just going to kind of float back across here, and then we're going to get these snacks, and we're going to enter Skull 3, where I'm going to shut up.
Yeah, so Skull 3 is quite an interesting level. Right off the bat, we're trying to make a, well, never mind. But normally there's a platform cycle that we want to make so that we can just blaze through it. Right there's the platform cycle. But you know what? That's okay. Not too big of a deal.
We're just going to
wait a sec. But you see that button in the background right there? That red button? We're going to press that red button. And normally we don't. But what the red button does is that it activates a platform so that it starts moving, because there's like a little island that's kind of hidden in the middle of this level, and to reach it we're actually going to climb this wall right here, and then we're going to glide all the way over and meet our little fish friend with some Scooby snacks. Look at that. But you can see that there's a moving platform over to the left, and we're actually going to soak the fish, because this soap, look how big this bubble is. It's like the biggest bubble of any enemy. But it allows us to get a perfect amount of glide so that we can just do that. And we don't have to press, there's a second button up top that you will see in just a second. And it just, it's a little scary part of a jump, but you know, a lot can go wrong, but thankfully we have a pro gamer at the wheel right now. So yeah, and then here in Skull Cliff 4, we're going to jump down for this arc of snacks right here, and then we're going to do a little bit of a tricky jump to get back up. Oh, I just barely slipped. So that jump was actually just recently found, because normally we would death abuse, but what happens when you die, you gotta wait for the platform. So a little time loss right there, not the end of the world.
It's still crying.
We gotta restart.
Gotta reset right now.
Reset.
As I'm like 3 minutes ahead of my PB.
Wow, that's crazy. The god coffin.
Yeah, perfect coffins and perfect wreck. That would do it.
That would do it. Yeah. So we're just making our way through this level again. This is a pretty straight shot. This is the second longest level in the whole game, by the way, and it's actually pretty cool. We do a void warp in any percent because we actually go through these levels backwards. The Skull Cliff skip that we did before, we actually use that in almost every category, but not to skip these levels, but just to go through them backwards because it reaches the helmet power up that we got earlier much faster than going through that Shaggy auto scroller. So a pretty cool thing right there. But obviously we got to collect all these snacks, so we got to go over to the side right here.
Yeah.
I'm tired, man. I want to make this a little more entertaining for myself. But we're gonna glide over here, and then you can kind of see a moving platform move in front of the camera. We're gonna try and get all the snacks on that platform right there, and then we're gonna glide up to the cliff up there. You can see some fallen rocks. That's where we're gonna be going next. A lot of levels in this category evolve around kind of taking the level into chunks and just kind of snaking your way through the level to get all the
snake in my boot.
They're just snaking my boot. This is spooky stories now.
As you can tell, Skull Cliff is not the most interesting of levels, just because you can also just kind of see it's kind of a barren wasteland. There's not like much here. Yeah. It's really just Skull 3 that's the interesting part, and like Skull 4 is kind of relatively empty, even though it's the second longest level in the game. It's kind of like, at least they put stuff in Misbehaving 3, you know what I mean? We're like, I'm collecting single snacks right here. Like, get it together, man. So right here, this would be the last pause storage that I would normally do, but the backtracking is very much quick at this point, so I'm actually going to go for more pause storage this year just because I am on PB pace, and I'm going to go for those. And if I mess up, we're not going to have to do too much backtracking, but I'm just not going to mess up, so it's going to be fine. And then you're going to notice here that we're lagging, and that's because this level is so big that the game just kind of lags here. And then we're going to do a pause storage. And then we're going to go to the warp kit that we got before. That was very important. All snacks collected. And now remember that this is we couldn't get up here until there's an invisible wall that Redbeard triggers, and basically that invisible wall disappears once you have fought Redbeard and have the gum upgrade. And so now that we have the gum upgrade, we basically just remove that. Going to use my Super Smash to get around this guy, do another pause storage, and then now we're going to initiate our backtracking again by warping back to Fishy finally. And so now Fishy is, again, I needed to hit this warp kit because this is the point where we are now officially backtracking to all the snacks that we weren't able to get before because we didn't have the proper upgrades. Because at the time when we first came through here, all we had was the springs and the helmet. So now we're going to use our Super Smash. We're going to hit this button, lower this little fishnet down, and then we're going to use our umbrella to kind of just make our way and just aid in the collection of some of these snacks. And now we have the galoshes, so now we can actually run on tar again, which we really only need the galoshes for like 2 levels, which you're about to see. And this is the part where we needed the umbrella for the coast snacks here. So we're going to use the umbrella and basically just float and get all these top layer snacks that we weren't able to get because we didn't have the height before. We actually could jump out and back for some of these, but it's just slower to do that when you have to come back through here later on. So you might as well just come back here later on and do it the faster way, right? Gonna do a skid jump there just to make sure we get down far enough there, and then we're just gonna finish our little float here, and we're not gonna pause storage here because for some reason I like to pause storage here even though we just death abuse after we get our all snacks collected. And now we're gonna immediately leave, and then now we're gonna go back into Pier 1, where now we're actually gonna go back to one of the very first levels that we entered in the game, Pier 2, and this is because Pier 2 is covered with tar, and it is one of the 2 spots that is really covered with tar in the whole game that like inhibits us. And so, obviously it's much easier to have the galoshes here in order to get those snacks. You probably technically could do it without the galoshes, but it would just be so slow that you might as well just come back here later on. And also there's an invisible wall that is removed as soon as you get the galoshes as well, so you're actually allowed to get over here. We do have a void warp that we can do, and we also can use the umbrella to get over here as well. A couple different ways to getting over here, but this is just simply the fastest way since we have to Please.
You can get it.
There we go.
There we go.
But it's just simply the fastest way to do it, right? So we're going to do another pause storage here. And then we're going to go to Shock 2. And now Shock 2 is the last of our backtracking. And so these are the snacks I was talking about before that I missed before, but it's fine because we can just simply get them on our way back. And again, this is another spot where having relushes is nice. Obviously, we could just jump on these things and not interact with the tar if we wanted to, but it just simply is faster to interact with the tar and just B-dash since we can now. We're going to bounce off we're almost going to die. We're going to bounce off the flying fishes. We're going to get up to the top. Just going to stun this guy so he's not in my way. And then we're going to dash off. I think you're supposed to probably soap those guys in order to get up there, but we can just do it without that. And then we're going to get over here, get this snack that I missed before. And then we're simply going to use our double jump now in order to get these 2 snack boxes. And then we're going to dash to get that snack that was out of our way a little bit. And then now we're going to go back into Shock 1 again, one of the earliest levels in the game to finish our backtracking. And this is kind of a nice part of Hundo because we just get to take a nice pelican ride. After you've done all your hard work in Hundo, you get rewarded with pelican.
See what you've
ride
accomplished.
You just take your hands off the controller, get a little handbrake before usually the very ending of the run. But we are almost out of the weeds as well with pause storage. We have one more that I'm going to go for because I'm on PB pace. And then after that one, if I hit it, we are good. And there's no fear of resetting. And we're just going to kind of make our way. And for some reason, whenever you come back here later on with all the upgrades, they spawn more enemies, specifically crabs. I don't really know why, because you can kill the crabs, like, just by jumping on them. So, like, you have the ability to kill them the whole time. So I don't really know why they put them here. It's really just to be annoying, honestly, is my take on it. But we're just going to use our helmet to break open these barrels. Fun fact, the middle barrel there, we can actually clip in and get a snack without the use of the helmet. We don't do it obviously because it's faster to just hit it open with helmet, but we call that Ponger barrels. Shouts to my boy Ryan. He's actually the person that got me into speedrunning this game. And now I'm going to hit this last pause storage, and then we're all going to pog.
Nice.
And now we're good.
Let's go, dude.
Good. And so we're
all good.
As long as I don't have a complete mental breakdown, we have pretty much secured our PB now. I could have a mental breakdown, but I have pretty good faith in myself. And now we're just going to complete our backtracking in Creepy 3, and we're going to make our way through here. We're probably going to get smacked by one of these hooks, maybe 2 of these hooks if we're lucky. Nope, just 1. That's nice. And then we're going to do a trick known as the RBS or Redbeard skip, because normally we would do this trick in any % in order to skip the Redbeard boss fight, because fun fact, we skipped 75% of the game in the any % run. It's 18 minutes long. And this is that skip where we jump on that ledge, we get all snacks collected, we've done Creepy, we finish our backtracking, and now we are in Lab for our last remaining time. We're just going to use the fan, and this is also GGS room where we jump off some invisible ledges to get up here without the use of the umbrella. And so this is literally, we skipped 50% of the game in 10 seconds and 90% just as a fun fact. But obviously we don't need to do that stuff here. So we're going to do a trick known as yellow jump there. It's not that scary considering we have the umbrella. You normally do that in 90% without the umbrella, which makes it really, really hard, but umbrella a little bit easier. We deactivate the electricity because if we fall in the electricity, we get one shot and die. Have to reset again. Or not reset, but like restart the level rather. And now we're just going to simply just get all these snacks at the bottom here. And we're just going to kind of just make our way around. And now I'm going to let Cole talk because I don't know. I just don't really like these levels. To be honest.
Yeah, well, especially at the end of that run. But so this level is pretty interesting because it has 2 different doors, and we're going to go to the left side, which is the intentional first way to do it. But normally in other categories, we would actually go through the right door and do a skip called Lido skip, which just skips this cutscene in this whole entire section of the room and beyond. But we got to come in here to collect these snacks real quick. So some people like to glide and get the Scooby snacks, or you can just use the iframes like Nestani did right there. I want to be careful, yeah, because we got 1 health. But we're just going to jump up here, grab this snack box. There's going to be an arc block of snacks right here, and then a monster token. We're going to use an invisible ledge on the wall to get that monster token sooner. There we go. Normally you'd have to jump from the top of this room all the way back down, and to get to up top we have to go through this level, which is lab 3. We gotta watch a cutscene here. Shout out to PAL PS2 players. You're the only people who can skip this consistently. You got to be careful. Oh my god, you're not even going for a sandwich.
No, I am.
Oh my goodness. Okay. This level, basically, you've got to press these 3 buttons, and it activates these 2 moving platforms. And in between these 2 moving platforms, actually, there's 2 snack boxes, and we're actually going to use some collision on the railing right here. You'll probably see it with this snack box, so then we don't have to jump all the way down and come all the way back up. And you can also see that we are sort of using the obstacles around us to help get snacks much quicker, as I would assume you would probably want to use the soap or the gum to help get these snacks. And then we're going to jump on this monitor right here and this ledge right here to get up here, instead of having to go all the way back to the other side of this circled room for that moving platform. Going to collect these snacks. We got the monster token as well by utilizing the railing, and press that button, and that goes back into lab 2, and
309.
And there we go. Perfect snacks right there. So just out of curiosity, are you going? I'm assuming you're not gonna check before.
No, I'm not checking. Normally what I would do here is I would do a little check, because I don't know how we're doing. Well, I mean, I know how we're doing on time. We're very much ahead of estimate. So just for the people running the marathon, what's going to happen is right here I'm going to collect these 10 snacks, and I'm going to be at 3334 snacks, which is a very nice snack total, very easy to remember. I have perfect snacks, and I know I've collected all the tokens, but normally what I would do here is that I would just verify that I have all the tokens and just kind of prove it and show it to you all, because essentially there's an 8-minute long cutscene at the end of the game, the credits are 8 minutes long, and with Hundo we verify runs by doing the save file. So we watch the whole cutscene after we do mastermind, because that cutscene actually applies for percentage. We watch the whole cutscene, which is 8 minutes long.
Yeah, we can't skip it.
Yeah, and we can't skip it. And then after that, we save, quit the game, and then we verify Hundo that way. And since I kind of just rushed my estimate, I'm assuming we could probably watch that and we could probably verify Hundo. But if someone wants to DM me, if we want to do that, if we don't want to do that, it's fine either way. Just let me know. But that is what is about to happen is that, and so we'll play by ear. But for now, we're going to do this last room where we're going to finish collecting these snacks in this room, because these are the last snacks in the game that we're going to be collecting, and that will be our last thing that we need to do for Hundo besides go do Mastermind.
So by the way, I was just about to say that.
Right, then we will.
Yeah, so we're here
though, when we watch it. So also we just clipped through that door. We kind of brushed over that. But don't worry, Shaggy is alive and well. He didn't get eaten by the shark. And then I'll let Cole take.
Thank goodness. Yeah, so this is the final boss. First of all, we're going to clip through this wall. That is a phase 1 skip. So how this boss fight actually works is that it's split up quite a bit, and there's 3 phases of enemy waves. And so we actually skipped the first one. This is the second one. But you have to defeat all the enemies, and that's very perfect as well. We have to defeat all these enemies and then press these 2 buttons right here. And we're actually going to try and do phase 3 skip right here, where we actually wait to press the second button 5 seconds, and then we're going to press this button again right when it pops back up, and it's going to trick the game into thinking that we beat the enemy wave. And there we go. That's phase 3 skip. It happened a lot in quick succession, but that just makes the final boss much easier to do. We're going to utilize the gum finally just to help get these robots out of the way. Be careful of health, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Never mind.
Perfect spawn! Okay, timer ends in 3.
When the electricity spawns, so yeah. It's just going to end whenever it spawns, so it's going to end now.
There we go.
And that's time. 1:44:12 on my timer, which is a PB by 2 minutes and 38 seconds.
Wow.
Or 2 minutes and 28 seconds, rather. Almost a 2.5 minute PB. So that's nice.
I was not expecting that spawn. I'm going to be honest. I was not expecting that spawn. Where Mastermind spawns on the floor is normally completely random, and that's like the best you could possibly get.
And
Electricity's
there's,
a little
there's
slow,
2 hit
but-
spawns, 3 hit spawns, 4 hit spawns, and essentially if we get more than a 2 hit, if we get more than a 2 hit spawn, normally we start to lose time. At max, we're losing like 5-ish seconds, even with a 4 hit spawn, and if you troll a little bit.
Wait, Fred. Like,
So,
I think I know who this guy
Very nice,
really
very nice.
is.
Yeah, nice.
I'm really proud of my rec. I can't believe I didn't die in rec. Rec like 2 is notorious that I die in. Rec 1 I also die in a lot, and I literally play like a perfect rec, other than like missing the cutscene skip. So
Yeah.
very happy with. I only
that
one
was
death in a
good.
gas 2. Normally, if I die in a gas 2, guys, I keep dying.
Just say
So
the
that's
butler.
huge. I'm
But,
notorious for multiple death or a gas 2. So I'm
Yeah.
anytime
very
some
solid
ghost
stuff.
scares somebody off a
Spoilers, by the way, if you care about the story for this
It's
game.
just got
Bro, no one
to be
cares.
around. Like, just
so
put up a sign that says keep off the grass.
But
But
anyway,
I guess Cole, let's just do shoutouts real quick. You can do your shoutouts here. Kill some time before we verify our hundo.
Let's see who the mastermind
yeah. So I'll just shout myself out real quick, I guess. Coley, C-O-L-E-Y. If you look up Coley Scooby, you'll probably find me on YouTube. But I also wanted to shout out
Xander.
one of the Hondo runners here that was actually on vacation right now, but he plays this category all the time. Jolly Zigzagoon, super cool. The goat. Really awesome Hondo player. And then I think you were probably gonna shout this out, but I also just wanted to say, like, this speedrun, I love the speedrun a lot. The categories are super cool, and they could feel pretty unique from one another. Hundo is a really cool one to showcase as well. An incredibly accessible game. We allow emulator runs because the loads are actually slower. So literally, honestly, like, some runners
And
we
they're slower
allow
by like 10
40
seconds, like overall.
yeah, it's
really
like not even that much slower. Like the virgin differences, like I really believe that this is probably one of the most successful, or not successful,
I noticed
accessible
There you
speed game, rather. Yeah, there we go. Different
Yeah.
word there. But
And I was gonna get into that a bit too. Is that
Yeah.
just kind of going off of that is that if you're interested in running this game at all, I highly recommend it. Like if you just like this game as a kid, or if you just saw what I did today and you're like, that kind of looks cool. We have a lot more categories in this game than just Hundo. We have like 80% all bosses, AMT, NLE, which is no levels early, and AMT is all monster tokens. I should probably embellish on that a little bit more. But like this game is very it's very easy to pick up, and you can kind of just like get in and start running immediately. And a big reason why you can do that is because actually on my YouTube channel I have tutorials for every single category in the game besides Hundo. Ironically, I should probably get on that. But if you want to learn any percent all bosses or AMT, which are all way less, like 80% is like a 20-minute run, all bosses is about a half an hour, and all monster tokens is about 40 minutes. So like we have a lot less runs in case you don't want to like pick up the Hundo, 2 hours, right? But
I mean, I guess if you're here, you're interested in long runs anyway.
Ooh.
So.
Exactly. But if you're looking for a game to pick up, I highly recommend it. I have tutorials on my channel for everything. Which if you just look up Nestani Scooby, you'll find me. And then if you want to drop me a follow on Twitch, I speedrun a lot more games than Scooby. I run some Neopets, I run some Lunistis, and I'm about to pick up Sonic Unleashed as well. So I'm going to be running a lot more games. I'm also going to be running this game some more in the future, most likely. So if you want to drop me a follow, you can. If you want to join the Discord, it's linked on our SRC page. 900 Fright Speedruns on speedrun.com. And yeah, and then I guess final shout out to Ryan. I kind of already shouted him out that before, but Ryan is the guy who got me into the game. He's a member of the community, and he actually got me in to start running this game. So I wouldn't be here without him. Like 2 years later that I've been running this game. So big ups. And now we get Scoob Step, the best song in the game that is unlocked with the credits. So I'm gonna kind of just we can kind of just chill and just jam out a bit while we wait for the credits to roll. We got a couple minutes here, but
Yeah.
just
Super fun.
vibe to the song.
Yeah.
I got a plan.
This wakes anybody up. It's like almost 3 a.m. for us, so we're like, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully it wakes up the runner who just woke up. You know,
There you go. Yeah. Okay, bro, you're moving. It's GTA 5 next, so he's
GTA?
you gotta rest up. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's a
gonna be
10-hour
good.
estimate, so that'd be awesome. But
Oh yeah, and also this is for charity. So if you all are interested in donating, drop an exclamation mark donate in the
Yeah.
chat. You know, donate to some charity, support the event. I'm sure they would appreciate it. And also just thank you for having me on. Thank you for accepting this run. I just love this game. I think Hundo is really sick. So just thanks for having us. You know.
yeah, thank you. Yeah. That's so cool.
Wives, husbands, girlfriends, boyfriends, and family, and everyone else who supported this producer.
Oh, now we gotta go with THQ people. We got a few people. The bug killer. The bug killer. He unfortunately I don't know if he did a great job. Well, he tried. That's fine.
The bug killer.
Hey, this game was made 20 years ago. Gotta cut it some slack.
Hey, they got some banger names though, honestly.
Yeah. Shout outs to all these people. I'm sure you worked very hard.
True.
Yeah.
And honestly, a lot of the bugs just really just make the run even more cool because again, like for example,
Exactly,
90%, we skip 75% of the game. We don't fight Black Knight Gringos or Redbeard at 80%, which is funny. Like we only fight Mastermind. Like,
Also, Mastermind. Mastermind is voiced by Tim Curry. If anybody is a big Tim Curry fan, he was like the original It Clown, Dr. Frankenfurter. Yeah. Some cool casting in this game.
Thank you for playing
playing
Night of 100.
Scooby-Doo.
Right.
Aw.
At the end of the credits, so we'll verify Hundo real quick as our Scoob step ends. I'm gonna go to the save machine and save over one of my safety saves. Fun fact, the two safety saves I have, which you're about to see, one is at 9% and one is at 50%, which is just really funny at how far apart they are. But I'm going to save over the 9%, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to quit the game, and then I'm going to come back in, and then it should say 100% when we load game. Just like
Nice.
that, 100% verified, and that
Awesome.
means my
Congrats,
PB is also
GG.
verified. They were good. 2.5 minute PB secured. And yeah, just thanks for having me on. And now I don't know what to do because now I'm done. So do I keep talking?
Enjoy the rest of the
Enjoy the rest
really,
of the
really
event,
long
honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks super awesome. I'm excited to watch them. So